Welcome to the Bear Down Level Up podcast, where we take you behind the scenes of logistics brokering and interview the brightest minds in business and logistics, sharing secrets to success so you can bear down and level up. Let's go.
Hey, thank y'all for joining us again for another episode of Bear Down Level Up podcast. I'm half of the duo that's hosting this podcast for you. My name is Desmond Clark and
I'm Louis Santana.
Hey, we got an action-packed show for you. As always, we're going to take you behind the curtain as we always do. Man, we started this AI agent, John, and we got to tell you all about that. We got our interview with Natalia Motoc, and of course, we got Corey's Corner. And so we're going to jump into all of that. But before we do, let's hear from our sponsor. At Bear Down Logistics, we don't just move freight, we move standards. For the brokers who are serious about their craft, the ones who don't guess, don't scramble, and don't chase, but execute with precision, discipline, and purpose. Bear Down Logistics was built for you because when you're operating at a high level, you don't need more options. You need the right partner. And for leaders responsible for moving freight inside your organizations, from sprinter vans to full truckloads to the most complex heavy haul and super load projects in the country, you don't get paid for average. You get paid for certainty, for execution, for getting it done right the first time. That's where we come in. At Bear Down Logistics, we specialize in solving the problems others can't. We bring clarity to complexity, and we execute the details in excellence consistently over time. That is the process of greatness. So if you're a broker looking to level up or a decision maker who refuses to leave execution to chance, it's time to partner with a team that operates like you do. Bear down and let's level up. Visit us at beardownlogistics.com. Again, that is beardownlogistics.com. All right, let's take you behind the curtain of Bear Down Logistics. And Louis, we've been talking about all of this AI stuff, agentic AI, and we got this John character on our team now,
John, yeah.
our AI agent, and we just launched him like 2 days ago.
Yep.
We tried to launch him on Monday, we couldn't get it done, so we launched on Tuesday, and let's just say that John wet the bed.
Yeah, the first day definitely. I mean, which was expected. Though
I don't know if it was expected. I knew it was going to have some bumps.
We were going to have some bumps, and we knew we were going to have some tweaking to do. But yeah, he didn't do too well. But
and just to get into a little bit more detail about that, I was the one who was pushing, let's go, because we had been doing all this testing and everything was working out. But until John gets in the game, we didn't know what John was going to be able to bring to the table. So I was like, man, let's just go do it. And I was okay if John did not perform well the first week.
Yeah. Because
now it's just hey, we see what he's doing and now we get to correct it. And shout out to Alexis Sockwell. He's our developer on the backside with Voxilio. Everything that John messed up on Tuesday, he jumped right on top of it. But some of the things John basically messed up on everything. A lot of it had to do with some of the coding on the backside of the website that John, I don't know. It's a whole lot of stuff that is over my head, over my pay grade. Mm-hmm. I know John called one of the customers. Luckily, it was Alexis's mother, because he did a dummy run before.
Okay. And
it called her 8 times in a row. And she actually called Corey back stop calling me. Stop calling me. And so I didn't know it was Alexis' mother, right? And so I hit Alexis up. I was like, man, we just got a call from an angry lady. John is calling her nonstop. He was like, oh, it's okay. That's my mom. I was like, what? He was like, well, I'm glad it happened to her and not somebody else. It was long story. But it was, so we had that glitch. Okay. The other glitch that we had is that it wasn't sending Corey the emails.
Notifications, yeah.
Right, because what John, let me back up. What John does for us is once we get lead forms in and somebody types on and say, hey, I need a quote for this, John actually emails, texts, and calls that customer back within 30 seconds, which is outstanding.
Phenomenal.
Right? And that all came because somebody did a random test with us, and it took us a while to get back to him. And so we built John so we can answer like right now. And so the other thing that John didn't do, we talked about, it wasn't sending the email back. But then the quoting part was really messed up.
Yeah, the pricing was off. The pricing was off by a lot. But again, the pricing stuff was one of those things where you're like, hey, let's get it going. We'll adjust as we go, because as you guys know, in heavy haul, there's so many variables to what determines a price. So we were going to kind of, build it in. And then we're also working with another guy who has an AI driven pricing tool where we're going to kind of merge them together.
Those.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
But it was off big time. No,
yeah,
like, no.
I was like, call immediately.
No. So what we did is, but to get ready for that is we always said, hey, have the AI agent tell the customer, hey, this is a preliminary quote, but then you're going to get the official quote from personnel at Bear Now.
Right.
But talk about how bad the quote was, though.
I mean, there was a couple. I only told you about the two, which was like, one was like, I think it was like $400 when it should have been, I think $1,500. There was another one where that $400 wouldn't have even covered the carrier, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another one that was like
$273 or something like that.
Yeah, $273, and it should have been $2,200. So
right,
$2,000 off. Again, that would have covered the carrier. We would have looked bad. So, and then there was one for $22,000. What was it?
I know Corey had one that he was going to do for $22,000 yesterday, but I don't know if that was John.
Okay.
But the reason that John was quoting so low, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get it started, is because we overlooked something.
Mm-hmm.
We overlooked
exactly what happened.
Because everything that we trained it to do was to quote like for distance.
Right, 350 miles or more.
Right. And so what happened was,
and then we had two that happened to be day rates. So anything less than 350 is like a set standard rate depending on the trailer. And then you have to add the permits for that one state that it runs, because it's, obviously within the state. We completely never trained it to do any of that. So it was like, well, what do we do then? It's like, oh, you just do it like this. And, and we fixed it right away. So I think everything that like kind of blew up was easily manageable, and the fire was put out.
That's easy for us to say. Yeah. I think Alexis stayed up all night.
I think he did.
Yes, because you got up and you seen like 10,000 emails
in the morning. I'm like, this guy has not slept. But he, about Alexis, you mentioned it yesterday. Even today, like he's just super like, let's get this thing going. Let's go. Hey, here's a new tool. I think you had mentioned at one point yesterday, like, hey, I want us to create tools for the team, but I don't want to create more work. If anything, we wanted to create less work, less stress, like more efficiency, which completely, by the way, it made 100%, because we didn't want to add another tool.
Right.
So then we want it to be efficient. This is what it's all about, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a good point that you made. But he was just like, this morning, he's on top of it. He's like, hey, I fixed this, guys. Hey, you're right. We're not going to add more work.
We had a long talk yesterday. One of the reasons I didn't call you back, I'm surprised you didn't give me shit about it.
Well, I was giving you space
because I didn't even. You called me like at 2:30, and it was like around 7. I was like, damn, I hadn't called Lewis back yet. I know I'm gonna hear this. Like, oh, dude, you can't call me. But me and him had a long talk, because he kind of misunderstood kind of what we were going after, because he built this whole tool where we can go and look at all of the stats and everything, but he was trying to incorporate the entire business.
Yes. So he was doing like it's called VoxCore dashboard, which was cool. He built a dashboard just built for us.
Yes.
To kind of, for us to see the statistics and metrics and
everything. But he was trying to take everything that we were doing. I was like, after we talked for like an hour, I was like, no, we want specifically just for this AI agent and what you're building, we want to be able to track our SEO leads. That's it. Because he was like, okay, y'all can add the rest of y'all heavy haul stuff in. And I was like, no, like all of that stuff, our customers and all of that, like we don't want to add any of that stuff to the metrics. We just want to know that, hey, for the money that we're paying, what leads do we have coming in? How are they closing? What all the averages, and we want to drill down into that. So he got a better understanding. And what he didn't know also, because he was like, well, how do I know if John don't make the call? I mean, the people don't pick up when John make the call. Okay. How do I know how to, like, if it was a call made or if it was closed or whatnot? He didn't understand that what converts
already does that.
We update what converts. So he's like, oh, I didn't know that. So he did whatever he do. And now whenever what converts updates, is going to update our platform, our dashboard also. So that was a lot of stuff they were talking about this morning.
I'll give it to you because last week when you were saying, let's just get this thing up and running and let's start it Monday. And then I know Alexis was like, oh, we are? And then I was like, oh shit, okay. I'm going to listen to you because at the end of the day, you kind of see things a little bit more further sometimes. And I'm like, all right, that was probably the best decision because we would have sat there with analysis paralysis for another 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And nothing would have happened. So
the same thing would have happened.
And the same thing would have happened.
What happened?
Never covered that.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes it is good to just take the lead. Just go out there.
Just make a decision and go.
Everybody's ready. Everybody was prepared. I think everybody cared. That was the most important part. So there was nothing could go wrong. Of course, things did, but we fixed it within 24 hours.
But here's the funny thing, though. The first day that we turned it on, we got 5 form leads, and we only usually get like 1 to 3 form leads a day. Yeah. Everything else is phone calls.
So happened to do that.
And we got 5. Yeah. And then after he fixed everything the next day, we got none. I was like, because I'm looking at I'm ready. I'm like ready. Like if we get a form, I'm on top of it. Nothing.
It probably had something to do with, which I should have known this, the July 4th weekend was a long weekend. So people were coming in Monday.
Yeah.
I got to get this done because I didn't get it done last week.
Yeah.
So.
But it kind of worked out because it gave us more time to talk through it, to make sure everything was calibrated.
More opportunities.
Yeah.
Find out what was going wrong.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's what you got to do. Like, and to talk about this in a more macro level, like business in general. I've been having a lot of conversations, just, people new in the business, and how I'm always on the phone. And sometimes I just take calls that people want to, hey man, what's your thoughts? I'm just getting into business, or I've been in the business, just want to get your perspective. And a guy asked me yesterday just about getting out there. And I was like, at some point, you just got to go.
You just got to go.
Right. And same thing I told you, same thing I told Luis, same thing I told Corey, same thing I told Will, same thing I told Hart, same thing I tell everybody. You're going to screw something up.
Yeah. And I think that was when you were the first one that's ever told me that in business period. You're going to mess up.
Yeah.
Expect it. And the faster you accept it and you expect it, but you're willing to fix it,
right,
the faster you'll succeed.
Right. Because it's going to happen to everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think people get so scared of making mistakes, right? But when you're going into the unknown, like we did with this whole AI agent, right? Like we don't know what the hell to expect. We've never did this before. Let's just do it. Let's just, like, I'm not expecting to be perfect, but what I do expect is when we find out what all the glitches were, that we jump on top of it right now and get it fixed and get it going. And that's what really happened.
For sure.
So, man, if I can give any advice to anybody who's thinking about doing the AI stuff, it can be scary. It can cost a lot of money, all of that good stuff. But I think in the next couple weeks, by the end of July, we will truly have another employee with this AI agent, John.
Oh yeah.
And so I was on somebody else's podcast yesterday. He was like, John, why did y'all name it John? I was like, you want to know the real story, or you just want me to give you the cleansed wash story and make it sound? He was like, no, give me the real story. I was like, because John is just a good old, just a good old fashioned, just logistics truck driver name, John. And I was like, but what we couldn't get is the voice that we wanted for John. I was like, so we had to go with, but we wanted John to be that good, gritty, just logistics, relate with the truck drivers, relate with the people who's asking for these quotes. That's what we wanted. He was like, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I think John was your idea. Yeah.
I wanted him to have like a Midwestern accent. Sometimes in the middle of the conversation, he just spit out some tobacco, you hear him on the phone. But
if we ever get like a truck driver agent for whatever that may be, he's got it. So he's either got to be that, or he's got to be of Latino descent and have an accent for a truck driver. Now, don't be getting all sensitive out there. Y'all know we telling the truth. Don't be calling us all kind of like, we just keep it real around here.
It was gonna be Mia at first, which she was like Russian. I think she was. She sounded like a Russian.
I forgot the name. What was Mia?
Mia,
yeah. I was like, no, we got to get rid of Mia.
We got to get John in here with a straw.
Got to get rid of Mia with a straw hat. But no, so that's what's going on behind the curtain with Bear Down Logistics. Really want to keep you guys up to date with what we're doing, because I know everybody is on this whole AI kick, right? Everybody is, hey, how do we use it? I did a post a couple of days ago about AI shouldn't be like something as you talked about in one of the things. You trying to get rid of me, man? It shouldn't be something that's getting rid of people. It should be something that's helping your people be better. And when I think about it, when it was first brought to me, somebody say, so, what are you going to do with your people? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He was like, so now they could be replaced. I was like, hold on, we're bringing in AI to help us grow. And if we're going to grow, we're going to make more money, right? So if we're making more money, why would we cut our people?
Mm-hmm.
Logically, that just don't. Right. But a lot of companies are doing that. They're trying to be more efficient.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. You can still be more efficient because you're adding on these tools to help your people be better. Cutting your people, like, I don't know. It's just something.
Yeah, I think that falls more towards like the companies that are employing thousands of employees, where they can get rid of an entire department through efficiency and AI and all that stuff. But I think what we have, it's more like, this is more of a relationship based. We know that there's always going to be somewhere we could put someone, and they're going to fit in that role, and they're going to be like, it won't be like your job now is completely obsolete.
But even with the thousands of people, though, it's still the same concept. You bringing in AI to help you grow, help you make more money.
It should create efficiency.
And what I think about is just the humanity of it, right?
Yeah.
Those 1,000 people, they got jobs. I mean, they got bills. They got kids going to college. They got life happening, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're gonna make more money by using AI, why would you destroy the lives of some people? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I just go back to the decision that I made to keep Will. When we actually,
that's a great example, by the way.
We had a real agent named John, and Will was his back office teammate to take care of all of his carrier, booking all of his loads, doing all his paperwork and all that. Mm-hmm. And John decided to go and join another company, and I was like, I got to make a decision with Will, because technically we don't need him anymore, because he was John's guy. But I was like, the guy did good work. He came over here. He's done nothing wrong. And I'm going to put the little caveat in here. That's part of the team in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
So, for me to keep paying him what I'm paying him, it wasn't going to hurt our bottom line, right?
If anything, it was going to affect him more.
It was going to hurt him more.
Yeah.
And what I said is, Will, so what we're going to do, we're going to cut your pay a little bit. We're going to keep you employed. You're going to, do A, B, and C now. Help the company with this. And we talked about a lot of things that Will
there
was
were
like,
some times where I tried to bring him on to see what he helped me with a couple of things that I knew.
Right.
Yep.
And then I was like, when we hire another agent, you'll be in place to just jump on. And recently we just hired another agent. Yep. And now Will is doing exactly what he was doing before. But, it's just having the soul of a company and having the humanity.
That's it right there. I think it was this. You have to have a soul, a conscience. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
And I mean, we was having
numbers are the numbers. The numbers are the numbers as a business. But at the end of the day, you still have to have a soul. Right.
Dude, and we were doing record numbers for us.
Right. Exactly.
Right. I was like, man, you were saying like, dude, we are killing it right now.
Yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah. And
it was in December?
No, it was January. It was right at the beginning of January. Like, and that's,
you know what? Bring them on.
You know what? Because January was our first $1 million month in revenue, and it was a record month. And then we just for 4 months in a row, we were just like killing it. Yeah. And for us to be making record profits, and then for everybody know that the Philippines, they don't. For them, it's a lot of money, but for us, it's not a whole lot of money. And I just felt icky. Just even thinking about letting them go when we sitting here just.
But Will's a phenomenal guy. I mean, he's a cool guy, and then not only he was referred by Luis brought him in. Luis brought him in, so we knew that he was going to stick around if we made sure we had found a spot for him. So it wasn't a temporary thing.
I don't know how we got on that tangent, but that's just who we are over here with Bear Down Logistics. So if you want to ever come join a company that has a heart and has a soul. That's us. And one of the things that I believe in, and one of the reasons why we do the broker agent model is because if you go out and you create your book of business, I want you to own your book of business. You own that book of business. I'm never going to try to take it away from you. I'm never going to try to mess around with all the numbers. And all right, so now you're making a whole lot of money. And so how can we slash your numbers so the company could get more? No, that's just not how we do things over here with Bear Down. But anything else you want to add before we get to our interview?
That's pretty much it. And just if anything, we'll invest more into you to help you grow.
That's what we do.
I was going to say that while you were talking, but I think that's pretty much it. If you guys are ever interested, just even having a conversation with Des and I, we'll have our LinkedIn's there. You can just request to have a conversation or see what we could do to help you.
Yeah. So with that, man, we'll get to the next segment, and that's the interview segment. And we got a nice interview coming up with Natalia Motoc. I'm messing people's names up. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this interview. First time having a female guest on the show. So it'll be good. But before we get into that, let's hear from our sponsor. This next segment is brought to you by Bear Down Logistics TMS Alvis. Just count the time your team spends jumping between tabs and spreadsheets, re-entering data just to move a single load. That's margin walking out of the door. The Alvis TMS has a complete fix for that. Trust me, they rescued me from the hell I was in with my first TMS I implemented when I started Bear Down. From tender to payment, your entire operation can live in one place. With built-in automation and intuitive workflows, freight operation teams across the country, including mine, are creating loads at under 2 minutes and getting 2 to 4 hours back every single day from these manual tasks. Start being less busy and become more productive. And let's get those loads loaded up and moved out. Go schedule your free demo. It was life-changing for me and Bear Down Logistics. Tell them Des Clark sent you, and that is Alvis, spelled ALVYS.com. So we are back with our interview. As we always do, we got a guest on, and I can't wait to interview Natalia Motoc. You know what, Natalia, I told you before we came on that I was screwing it up, and I'm so sorry because I am one of those people that I try to get people's name right because that's their identity. So can you pronounce your name so everybody knows it how it's supposed to be said?
It's Natalia Motoc.
Motoc,
yes.
Right. And so, and what I hear an accent. Where's that accent from?
It's Eastern Europe, from a small country called Moldova. By now, a lot of people have learned about it in the past couple of years, but it's between Ukraine and Romania.
Okay, nice. So, hey, thanks for hopping on with us. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. And like we always do, the first question that we ask is, Natalia, how do you win in logistics?
My answer will be short. Number 1 is communication, respect. Number 2 and number 3 is trust.
Yes, and you actually have those things on your LinkedIn page. Like you got the four things that you must have to win. Talk to us. Well, it's not must to win, but those are the four ingredients that you say that are necessary for this industry. Talk to us about those four things.
Well, I'll go back a little bit. What I call my operations is the architecture of operations. So it's basically the foundation of any business. Think of it that you're building even a house or a very tall building. And the first thing we start is the foundation, right?
Right.
And that takes up 90% of our powers investment, not only money investment, but like sleepless nights, lots of connections, lots of people involved. And when we do that, that's building our operational system. And what I compare that with is that's the foundation of your business, which involves people. So the 90% of your foundation is building your team, where you invest a lot of your resources, a lot of your time. You go through sourcing the right people. You put in strategies. You make plans so that your flow goes in and people actually understand what they're supposed to do. And then the rest of your 10% is growth. Once your business is built, then you switch it up. The team you have built takes up all of your 90% and spends in operation. And then the 10% that you had now comes back to you as 90% of giving you the time to grow that business. So now you're involved 90% in growth and 10% in operations, which means that you have started on the right foot. And on my LinkedIn, what I have, and I will go over that, it's basically the architecture that I talk about, and that will also be part of my book, hopefully launching by early 2027, where I'll give lots of details of how that should work so that it comes out the way it's supposed to be.
Right. And so talk to us about how you have been able to implement that foundation in the logistics industry, because I know you have a history in the industry and you've been able to use those strategies that you just talked about briefly to help build companies.
I guess my lucky point was that I started back in recruiting. And in recruiting, as you know, it's dealing with a lot of different people, lots of personalities, lots of different behaviors. And I've taken that experience and I brought it into logistics, because at the end of the day, we're talking people. No matter what industry you're in, you're still dealing with people. And the way you bring that to the table is what the results are going to be. In logistics, there is not so much difference than any other industry, because when you work with people, you must set up some parameters. And I'll give you an example. Let's say there is a relationship between a carrier and a broker. And we've heard a lot of, let's say, misunderstandings or things that carriers don't like about brokers and brokers don't like about carriers. But what everybody forgets is that when you don't build that relationship from the beginning with respect and trust, then there is no way possible you can move forward with a successful relationship that will bring the results you want. So let's say you have in a carrier company, like a trucking company, right? You have a dispatcher, and the dispatcher is really good. And let's say he has 10 drivers that he takes care of. And for some reason, either the dispatcher leaves or is being let go. And then the company will see a trend of people quitting, drivers leaving. And then they wonder, did they leave that we didn't pay them right? Did they leave that they found something better elsewhere? Without realizing that one of the main reasons was because they had that relationship with the dispatcher, which is based on trust and based on loyalty. Finding people that are loyal and that you can trust is hard. And that's where you put in a lot of work, either as a founder or as a leader, so that you know that you have the right people in place.
Right. So you talked about finding people that are loyal and that you can trust. And you say that that's difficult. How does a leader or someone in your position that's hiring for companies, how do you do that? How do you find that loyalty and trust for that particular person that you're hiring?
You can find it, and you never will. You build it. So as a leader, you have to build that loyalty. Means you have to be that example and the person that everyone in your team trusts. Because as a leader, if you're going to lead by example, roll up your sleeves when needed, be there for your team, encourage them, show them how things are done without saying that, and I've heard that a lot, I've shown you this already. Why you keep asking me? Like, why you keep telling me you don't know? And then when you have an employee telling you, well, I don't know, or I didn't know, then that's not the moment you get angry. That's the moment that you sit down and say, okay, let's go over it again. And then you build that thing and you make them feel comfortable and you make them trust you so that they don't feel the fear next time when they mess up, because we know everybody makes mistakes.
We just talked about that. Yeah, that everybody's going to mess up and make mistakes.
Right.
Everybody, and that's unavoidable. You can't really avoid that. But as a leader, when you build that type of relationship with your team, then that's when loyalty grows, and that's when trust, goes, high rocket. And as I said earlier, when I started in my recruiting industry, there was a trend of people quitting or not showing up simply. And I have 2 years in my major in faculty that I was lucky I did psychology. So that maybe like 3 years or 4 years into recruiting, I became curious. Like, I wonder why some people achieve and make it and why some don't. So I started building like case studies, and I started learning people and going through like questionnaire interviews, because we have a lot of companies we hear, well, we did our exit interview. And I tell them, well, I think it's too late. Exit interview is probably going to give you 20% of what information you're actually looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I highly recommend for any company that they hire, especially new people, that they go through this 90-day framework that I have, which I call it the 90-day training period, also known as the golden period. And in these 90 days is when you do those questionnaire interviews. And it's either done at 2 weeks or 30 days, 60 days. And that's when you find out how that person feels. And that's when you find out the most crucial information of how your company does and how your leadership is doing and how the others are being treated and what kind of behaviors are in the company. So if you really don't do those, exit interview will be
they're already out the door at that point. So
it's irrelevant at that point.
Yeah. And
they're out the door and they're not even interested to offer you any information for your improvement because you did not give them the time of the day when they were still there.
Wow. So Natalia, you said something about making your teammates or your employees feel comfortable, right? I think that's one side of it. But I think the other side of it is that you got to get them uncomfortable also. And I'm sure I made you uncomfortable a lot in the growth.
And I think that's the part there. So the comfortableness, which she was talking about, I think is more on a relational
relationship and trust building,
right?
Correct.
And then where Des is more on the business growth, and you don't do it with everyone. You almost want to do it with everyone, but you have to kind of pick and choose who you do it with, because you see that on the other side of that uncomfortableness is where that person can blossom
Right.
to, right? And what Des is talking about, we've been, I mean, even sitting in this podcast was an uncomfortable thing for me. I don't like being in front of the camera. I was super uncomfortable with the idea and the thought of it when he first brought it. And
now look at him. Now I'm wondering who's
Here is the uncomfortable part, and that comes post 90 days. That's once you've already built the relationship, right? That's when you learn who the person is, what they can do, what they're capable of, because there is different groups of people. And even some very smart people, high IQ, will never be an entrepreneur in their life. Why? Because they like their privacy, they like their quiet time, they like sitting all by themselves to do something that's very important, but it's not out in the world. Whereas you will see someone with a very high emotional IQ, right? It's a EQ, right? Those, even though they're not, let's say, that intelligent or that smart, but they have the drive within, they have the confidence, they're not so afraid of risks, those are going to be your entrepreneurs. And those people are going to hire the high IQ people to grow their company, because we know as a founder, no matter how great your idea is, it's never going to grow if you don't bring in the right people. And I call that a water cycle. Like the water cycle is the water that flows within, which is, your business, your operations. But then the people that go through that flow of water are the ones that actually keep your company going and growing. Now, coming back to the uncomfortable portion, that's when you've identified who your people are and what they can do. And now you say, okay, I have 10 people, out of which 3 of them, I know I can mold into what I need and what I want, so that I can rely on them for whatever projects or whatever improvements or whatever growth projects we have coming up. And people are very resistant to change. And that's the number one problem you will see everywhere. And it's not just in a work set environment. It's everywhere in life. When you have resistance to change and you have the wrong people implementing that change, you're going to fail. That's why when you have that, process, and that you have the strategy and you follow the plan, you have learned who your people are, and you know how to approach that change, and you know how they're going to take it, and then how you communicate it to them. Because if you come and say, all right, today is Monday, and we have this whole new process that we're going to implement, everyone be ready. Well, be sure you're going to have change resistance. Everyone's going to, pull back and say, oh, this is unexpected, right? And they're not prepared and they're not ready. And now you've taken
Natalia, one of the things that you want to do with that, and I was just, I don't know if you got the term that I told you yesterday. I was like, we got to boil the frog slowly, right? You introduce it.
Correct.
Then you talk about it a little bit. Then you let people kind of know it's going to come at some point, and then you prepare them. So if nobody ever heard that term, boiling the frog, if you throw a frog in hot water, it's going to jump right out. But if you turn up the heat just a little bit at a time, it'll sit there, right? And so you like you're saying, you don't want to introduce something and boom, we're doing this right now. It's like, hey, and if you know you're going to do this in 120 days, start to introduce bits and portions of it now, and then lead up to it so people can kind of get used to the idea that something's coming, change is coming. So I think that's what you're speaking to.
Yeah, and most importantly, make a list of benefits of this change. What's the positive out of it so that people can understand? It's the same thing as you have a leader, right? And then they leave. You replace them with someone else. And then there is 50 people in that team that now are expecting to be led by another person. Well, I can assure you that the first 3 months of that transition is going to be difficult, because all of those people have now been accustomed to some sort of behavior, some sort of process, some sort of communication, some sort of assistance from their leader. And now when someone new comes in, they're all gonna kind of shrink down a little bit, be quiet for a while, trying to learn who this new person is and how shall we behave around him or her. What are we to expect? Because in bigger companies, in corporations, people actually are afraid of speaking up even though they have something to say, especially in front of a new person who they don't know how they're going to react and what type of thinking and understanding they have. And they will just choose to stay quiet for a little bit. And usually that, let's say, level of transition takes about 90 days for the whole new team to learn and understand this new person, this new leader, so that they can come back to normal. But then there won't be the same normal. The normal will be different because now you have a different leader who thinks differently, who wants things done their way, maybe without understanding that this company that they just came in, their way is not going to always work. So it's always going to be a both-way situation. It's the team trying to approach the leader, and then the leader trying to approach the team to build.
I think one of the things that you're speaking about is people learning each other's personality. And like when you first came on, right? Mm-hmm. You had a lot of ideas, and you wanted to tell me like early. Yeah. And I know one of the things that you started telling yourself too is that I got to get out of the old way of thinking and start to think how we're doing it over here. Right. That was that transition that you went through. Talk about kind of what she was talking about, your mindset and the shift that you had to make coming from your old company to coming over here.
Yeah, it was just like Natalia was saying, was like when someone left and then now you had to, for 3-4 months, you're sitting there kind of quiet, observing, because now you have to see how it works here, even though it's the same job. Right. Nothing changed in your position, in your duties. It's just seeing now management has changed, or, you're in a different hierarchy in a sense. Right. Correct. So I was looking at that and the same thing. I mean, I understood it completely. Was you kind of get quiet, you look, you see. And then I started to, like, when I saw a little gap and, hey, Des, let me.
When you saw a little gap, you punched right through it.
I started implementing my ideas. And I'm like, hey, look, this is where we can take your company. Let me know how much you want me to come in.
No, it wasn't like that. It was. Hey, babe.
Well, and that speaks up to a great leader on Desmond's behalf, because you will see the other way around. You will see leaders shutting down some people in their team because of fear of losing their own job. Why? Because someone in their team has shown and proven that they're capable of doing the job, and they're capable of taking on responsibilities, and then they're capable of leading a team. So you will see in many scenarios that people talented are going to leave companies for this reason, is that they're not being given the opportunity because their leader is in fear of losing their own spot. Yes. And they do everything in their power to keep this person private, just for themselves. And they take advantage and take credit of what the other employee in their team is doing for their own benefit. And then when they sit in executive meetings, they never bring up this person to say, well, someone in my team just brought this up to me and I think it's a great idea. You will usually see, well, here is what I know, here is what I want to suggest, even though it's not their idea. So then at the end of the day, he's going to get the claps from the whole executive team saying, great job with your department. And then, it's always a both-way situation. So when you have leaders that actually promote you and want you to grow, and that's when you're going to give more than you can. That's always you're going to go that extra step out of your way as an employee, because now you're being recognized by your leader. And now you know that they trust and respect you, and then they trust you so much that they bring up your name, right? And this is where that trust and loyalty starts to be built that I was talking about earlier. Right. And building that, it's not easy, and not everyone can. It's a matter of, are we ready to do this? So from
I
a
think
founder's perspective, and like let's say from an owner's perspective, if you have this kind of people, just keep them, watch for them,
right.
make sure that they are satisfied and they are comfortable in talking to you without,
Right.
putting them down,
Well,
without shutting them down.
I think this is something that a leader has to allow for when you're talking about trying to
100%.
bring other leaders, is that they have to allow for the mistake.
Correct.
And that's one way
It's
that
almost welcoming. You have to almost welcome
Allow for mistakes.
Right.
Right. Let them know beforehand, hey, mistakes, like you've done plenty of times with
Right.
me, mistakes are going to happen, Lewis. Let's take the step towards it.
And even talking about some of the other staff, one of the things that I would do if I've gone over something, because you mentioned this earlier, if I've gone over something a few times with someone and I know that they got it, but they don't have the confidence in themselves yet. Like say Hart calls me, hey, so I wanted to run this past you, and it's something simple that I know that she can handle. I'll actually respond back, I'm not going to answer that. I'm gonna let you take care of it because I know you can get it. And then once I do that and they actually execute on it, now they just built that confidence. And then I just built trust with them because they know that I trust that they can get it. And if they do mess up, it's okay also. That's a chance for me to coach it up again so they can build trust and build confidence in that scenario also.
Yeah, and based on this, I always, and it's not everyone like you. Luckily, you have that leadership in you. And I actually read your post on LinkedIn recently about how you've learned that, how you saw that coming back, from your family, what you've learned from your mom. But unfortunately, not everyone has the opportunity to learn this kind of behaviors. And I call it, also in my book, I'll talk about it. It's the childhood baggage, right, that you bring on your shoulders. And those are behaviors, those are environments you've lived in, those are things you've learned, saw, heard. And all of those things that are learned behaviors from childhood are actually the baggage of adulthood that oftentimes not only we bring in life, but we also bring in our workplace. And a simple example will be, I will send you guys, two of you, an email. One of you will read it and be totally fine with it. I got the point, I understand, it's all straightforward. The other one will read it and will say, oh my God, this sounds insulting, or this sounds like they're attacking me. Right? Now, observe the behavior. Why is one person reading the email, understanding it as it is, without making any sort of assumptions? And why is person two reading it, thinking that that's an attack on their person? It's because of the learned behaviors from childhood. And this is a very tough work as a leader, to work with people that have multiple types of behaviors and understanding to things without them themselves being aware that something like that even exists. Because you'll hear managers say, I have 10 people in my team, 8 of them do great, 2, I don't know what to do with them. I've gone over the same things with all 10 of them. I do my daily meetings with all 10 of them. I don't do anything different with 8 people and then different with 2 people. For some reason, these 2 people don't get it. And it's not for them to figure it out. It's for them to simply be aware that these 2 people are just different from the way that they learned from their childhood, the environment they were in, and how they see things. And it's just having the patience and trying to understand what they can do as a leader to be able to work with them, because they can perform, they can do their job. It's just a behavior thing. It's just a type of,
they gotta make that connection.
The connection that they should have, right? And it's, many leaders are not aware. But at the end of the day, I also hear some say, I don't have the time for this. I better fire this person and bring someone new. But then the next question is, well, do you know how much it's going to cost you to replace someone?
And they then you don't know what you're getting with the other person. Yeah. You don't know what you're getting with the other person. You know what you have with this person.
Number one, you have recruiting costs. Number two, you have lost time because it took some time to find this person. Number three, you have training time, which can take up to 3 months to train someone depending on the role you bring them in. Right. And then number four, you pay them more because it's always someone new coming in wants at least 15% increase in what the previous person had.
So Natalia, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, and I know you got a book coming up, talk a little bit about the book. Let us know how they can get in contact with you before we get out of here.
Sure. Best way, LinkedIn, my name, Natalia Motoc. My book, I have 2 names right now, but I'm leaning towards the architecture of operations. The book shortly is about the behaviors of people in the workplace, how to learn them, be aware of them. And then it goes into the transition of talking about accountability, why we achieve and why we don't. Talking about switching behaviors from default to by design. Talking about the 90-day training period, the golden period, what I call, so that you can set up your new employee for success. So that all great information will be there.
Yeah, and I think that is really a pivotal thing when you're talking about growing a company is having those tools and that tool set to be able to bring in and retain good people and train people to the culture and the expectations that you want to set at your particular, if you're a leader of a division or you own the company. I think that tool bag that you provide is great. So you guys go out and find Natalia. She's all over the place. We met on LinkedIn. I know you do a lot of good stuff on LinkedIn, some posting, but if you need that work, if you need a person to come in and hire good people or help you to train to hire good people, Natalia is your person. Hey, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You have a great day.
Thank you,
Natalia. All right. And with that, let's hear from another sponsor before we get into Corey's Corner. If you're running a freight brokerage and still chasing payments like we were a few years ago before Hall Pay, dealing with carrier fraud or leaving money on the table, you need to check out Hall Pay. They give brokers like you and me flexible, non-recourse capital. Let me say that again, non-recourse capital. That's a game changer. Automated carrier payments and a verified payment network that protects you from fraud on both sides of every transaction. You can even earn revenue from quick pay. And if you work with small fleets, Hall Pay has carrier factoring programs for them also. So everyone in the transaction gets taken care of. It's the payment and finance platform built specifically for freight. Check out my guys at hallpay.io. That's spelled HAULPAY.io. All right, we're back with Corey's Corner. And before we jump into Corey's Corner and figure out whatever Corey has for us, Corey has come over to the dark side. Corey is now doing heavy haul. And we've been talking about it for months now. But you closed your first deal, Corey. How much did you clear on that first deal?
Well, it was a pleasure getting that first deal done. We made a very good margin, and it was around $1,600, plain and simple, cut and dry.
And here's the ironic thing. When we had a episode when you was talking about your first deal,
yeah.
How much did you make on your first deal?
Still like $1,685. So and that's where it all started.
Yeah, that's where the beast just.
Yeah.
So for all of the people who used to know Corey, and when he used to run truckload stuff, which you still will be doing that, say hello to the new Corey Davis on the heavy haul side of things.
Yesterday's price is not today's.
Corey, take it away, man. What you got for us today?
Well, I appreciate it. We'll segue right into that deal. So that deal came from an auction, and I started thinking, okay, what are like the top items sold at auction? So I have those. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Hold on. What type of
Yes.
auction?
That's a good question. So I broke it down. I broke it down into two segments. One is going to be for like heavy haul type related material, construction equipment, stuff like that. And then I also have a side where it's just general like online auction type deal. But I was kind of wanting to stick to the heavy haul part. So the top 3 items are going to be like construction related equipment that you will see at certain auction houses.
I have no chance on this one.
All right, I got
yeah. Look. You ready to go? You ready?
Generators.
Okay, I should preface first. There's no data behind this. This is just the amount of listings. So it's not sold. It's just the amount of listings that are on these sites.
Is this in the state of Florida, countrywide? What are we looking at?
United States. States.
Is generators on there?
Generators is not on there, but that kind of that boggles my mind that now you say that.
Okay, so then I'd say excavators or skid steers.
I was gonna say skid steers because when I went to my first auction, I seen a ton of skid steers, and the only reason I wouldn't say excavators is because there's so much of a bigger piece of equipment, and a lot of those get rented, but more people have their own skid steers.
Okay.
So you guys nailed it. Number 1, excavators. Number 2, skid steers.
Oh, okay. So it is more excavators.
3.
Wow. Yeah, and actually the one little fact that I dug into is it's speculated allegedly, but that there's more used excavators sold yearly than there are new, which is also kind of
I can see that.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of a neat, a little neat factoid there. But yeah, you guys hit it on the head.
What's number 3 then?
I think number 3 is going to be wheel loaders. I'm kind of leaning between wheel loaders or motor graders, but I'm going to go with wheel loaders.
I'm going to go with the expert.
So wheel loaders are actually number 4. I only did a top 3, but they're number 4. You have a guess, Des, for number 3?
Oh, dozers. Yeah, dozers.
So it's agricultural tractors is how they for number 3, and then number 5 actually rounds out as boom lifts.
Yeah, they do have a lot of those there.
Yeah, but
nice.
in between 40 and 70,000 excavators are listed on auction sites on a yearly basis in America.
Wow.
Now, if you
so the question I got for you two, why we only moving the amount that we moving?
The other 69,997.
Yeah, but believe me, that went through my head too when I said even 40,000. I said, man, let me get like 0.1% of that.
Wow. Give us 1%.
Thanks, Corey. Now we got to get to work after this podcast.
Yeah, 1% would be 4. If it's 40,000, 1% would be 400. Yeah. Come on, fellas. What are we doing around here? We wasting too much time on these damn podcasts. Get to work.
Too much statistical work around here. We're gonna
tons of opportunity. Tons of opportunity.
What's the other one you got for us, Corey?
Well, so now if you are looking to get into an auction, maybe you're a buyer, or if you want to line something up, obviously we can help you out with the logistical part of it. But I also have the top 3 auction houses for equipment related material. Now this is going to be kind of you're not going to get all 3 of them, I don't think, just because it's not just heavy equipment, it's just general equipment. But if you want to name the top 3 auction houses in America, go for it.
Yeah. But you got
to go with Ritchie
Brothers. You have
number 1's Ritchie Brothers. Knock that down. That's number 3.
Okay.
Number 2 is going to be a trick. It's a trick question, but you will know this one, but it's a trick question. I can give you a hint, but if I give you the hint, you're going to immediately get it right.
Is it J.M. Woods?
It's not. So the hint is, don't think equipment, think cars.
Yeah.
Meacham.
Copart.
Not Meacham, but the Copart.
Copart.
The other one.
Copart. Okay. I've never heard of
Copart
that.
and IAA are like the biggest car ones that they have. Yeah.
I've never heard of Copart. So that was, that's different
It's a
for me.
nightmare to pick up.
That's actually,
Is
you've probably seen the Copart facility. It's just a big parking lot full of cars. So you probably never even noticed it, but I think there is one kind of near where you were at, not to dox you.
Yeah,
but
there's one on Taft Island. The Taft, is it Taft? Right there on OET and Taft. Yeah.
I believe there was one over off the 417, if I'm not mistaken.
I was just thinking, I've rode past and I've seen all of those cars out there and just wondered. It's an awful lot of freaking cars. Yeah.
And
where they say they're selling them and they're operational, and then you got there and you got a forklift it on. Yeah. 7 hours
I mean,
time.
and the Ritchie brothers, you can see that from the highway. I know we have one in Central Florida. I mean, you can see it from the interstate.
Right there going Davenport.
Yeah.
You saw that growing up. That was there. How long has it been there?
That's been there forever. As long as I remember.
No way.
But I mean, I only remember since I've been grown. Because I wasn't paying attention to it. So ever since I moved back to Florida in 2007, it's always been there.
Okay.
Before that, I didn't live, like I left home at 18. That was 1995. And then I didn't move back until 2007. So, but I think it was there in 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been there as long as I can remember traveling, to Tampa or, related cities. So yeah, it's been there for quite a while. But yeah, that rounds out the top 3 biggest auction houses. Obviously, we went over the equipment. There's just tons of opportunity. And if you are there, you're trying to buy, give us a call. My name's Corey. We have a whole team here that can help you facilitate.
We talked about our new teammate, our virtual teammate John too, and how he wet the bed the other day. But we gonna get John right. We're gonna get John used to the culture around here, the process of greatness, executing the details and excellence consistently over time.
Humbly courageous.
Yeah, we got to be humbly courageous. John got to get out there and get it going. But now, Corey, appreciate that, man, and glad to have you finally switch over to the heavy haul side. We've been trying to find a way to implement you into that for over a year now. And now you're there. Looking forward to you closing out those deals. And yeah, man, more money for you, more opportunity for you, which I love.
40 to 70,000 excavators alone. So yeah, hopefully there's more opportunity along the way. And that's yearly.
Yeah, that's yearly. Now, if that's yearly, come on, fellas, we got to at least be doing 1% of those things. Come on now. Come on. But cool, man. I appreciate you jumping on. That's Corey's Corner. And we'll come back with the final word after we hear from our last sponsor. This next segment of Bear Down Level Up is brought to you by Eureka BI. RFPs are wasting your team's time. I can almost guarantee you. Brokers and carriers are leaving money on the table, chasing bids with spreadsheets, emails, and having zero consistency. We have a solution for that. Eureka BI has a solution for that. Eureka BI automates your RFP process, standardizing every step so your team collaborates on bids faster, smarter, with more insights to win more freight. And that's what it's all about, right? Winning freight, not just wasting time on bidding. No more reinventing the wheel on every single quote. This is a repeatable system that scales with your business. Visit eurekabi.com and start bidding with confidence. That's Eureka BI, spelled EUREEKABI.com. All right, now just stay tuned for this video for the final word. One of the earliest lessons that I learned about success, and I learned this early in life, and it's this. When you want to do something, when you want to accomplish something, when you want to set out to gain something, the only person that you need to prove it to is you. Nothing else matters. And that's another episode of Bear Down, Level Up Podcast. Hey, I appreciate you guys for joining us, but make sure that you go and subscribe, like, whatever they say. I don't know what they say, but We appreciate your support. Subscribe to the podcast, and then just check in with us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the AI. Let us know what you think about everything that we talk about behind the curtain, for sure, because we want that feedback. We want the perspectives that you guys have, because that's how we learn, and that's how we bear down and we level up.
Yeah, if you could leave us some comments as well, we'd be happy to respond back to them. So just let us know whatever you think.
Yes, sir.
In the comments.
There we go. Hey, have a good one. And until the next episode, y'all keep bearing down.
Thanks for listening to the Bear Down Level Up podcast. Be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes. Until next time, keep bearing down and leveling up.